Hey everybody, Maggie Yu MD here, Functional and Holistic Medicine MD, and owner of Transform Autoimmune. And we are doing Immune Table Talk live again today. And today's topic is actually about hot topic that Cora and I was talking about this morning, but let me introduce Cora. Before I do though, for those of you that are just streaming in live right now, please type in the comments section that you can hear me loud and clear, and tell me what autoimmune struggles you're going through right now in the comment section. That'd be awesome. For those of you that are not watching this in our Facebook group and we're watching on our Facebook page or YouTube, make sure you click subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you haven't joined our Facebook group, pop in to Transform Autoimmune Naturally and join our group where I'm going live on a regular basis, and there's tons of free training sessions and learning involved. I want to introduce Cora Holloman, our Facebook group moderator for Transform. Cora, I'd love for you to just introduce yourself a little bit and let people know a little bit of your story.
Yeah. So I'm Cora, and I've probably talked to tons of you in the group or welcomed you in. I work with Maggie, probably almost a year now. I've been working with Dr. Yu. And when I started, I don't know if you knew when I started that I had autoimmune disease as well. It was kind of my dirty little secret that I kept for a few months. And since then, yeah, I've been through the program, seen huge improvements, and enjoy spending my time talking with you guys and kind of helping you figure out what some of our challenges are right now with COVID.
Yeah, you know, so many people in the group see you make our posts and have had private messages with you, and they have never tied the face, you know, the real person to the name. You know, it's almost like, does Cora really exist?
I'm a person, yeah.
and people need to know you are messaging and talking to people all day long, and on the Facebook group, our people that are moderating the group from our team has Transform team after their name. So Cora Transform team is her name in the Facebook group if you want to message her. Today, I mean, we had a conversation this morning, and it's all about hydroxychloroquine. I posted a poll last night, and thank you so many of you for participating. Just talking about what are some medication changes, stoppages, new meds, changes of meds, fears that people have around dealing with COVID and with dealing with autoimmunity. And there's over 120 comments now on the poll of people just talking about all sorts of medication changes that are going on that are freaking them out.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a lot of people who said that they don't really have any direction from their doctors, and people are wondering, like, is there something that I'm taking that makes me more at risk? Or some people are already taking Plaquenil and they're wondering, am I going to be able to get it? Does it make me safer that I'm already taking it? People don't know. And from what it seems like, a lot of people aren't getting those answers from their doctors either.
Right. And that's why I was answering those questions with you. I'm like, why aren't we just talking to the group about this?
Yeah.
So I love it. So I just want to tell people a little bit of background about this hydroxychloroquine thing, which is an old anti-malaria drug. Chloroquine, hydroxychloroquine, Plaquenil is the names on it. I've done another live video on this. If you guys haven't seen it, we could tag you in. We could tag it in the comments below a little bit later. But here's the thing: what they found in testing tons of substances to try to deal with COVID, since we have no medication that's known to treat it right now, they found that hydroxychloroquine seems to anecdotally, meaning doctors seeing patients on it, have a less shorter and less severe illness with COVID. And yeah, go ahead.
Do you know why that is? I mean, everyone's asking, why is it working that way?
I have an idea. I really do. If you look at one of I'm a big proponent that there's a lot that's data-driven in supplementation that you can do to prevent upper respiratory infection and that you can use to treat early respiratory infection. And one of the things is zinc for treating early symptoms of upper respiratory infection. And there's a shortage of zinc everywhere, and we just got a bunch of zinc into our store, and we can put the link down below. But I want to talk about why zinc works. And zinc actually decreases the replication of viruses. This is the mechanism that's proposed why people tend to, as soon as you get sick, start some zinc right away. Why people do that is because if that decreases the amount of viruses that's replicating, then you're going to get sick less severely and for less period of time. Now, here's a connection with zinc and hydroxychloroquine, okay? When you take zinc, first of all, a lot of forms of zinc are not highly absorbable, okay? So getting the right zinc that's absorbable is important. And a lot of people with autoimmune and immunosuppressed are dealing with gut issues and food issues. They don't even absorb it anyway.
Yeah.
There. And so let's say you get some really good zinc. Let's say you did get some zinc in. The zinc still has to make its way from the outside of the cell to the inside of the cell where it will decrease viral replication, okay? And the mechanism for why hydroxychloroquine works is it has a mechanism as a zinc channel opener. So it literally, there's a door on your cells and it opens up the door and it says zinc come in. So that's the mechanism as to why they think hydroxychloroquine works, but it works in combination with zinc, which is why taking zinc is really important as well. And a good one that you can absorb is really important that's tolerated by you. And so this is, to me, data-driven supplementation and real-world medicine combined, seeing real results right now. And I think that's why it does, this whole treatment with hydroxychloroquine has a lot of legs. And I think it looks really promising.
Okay, and so zinc it's not just your grocery store zinc then. You can't just go to Walgreens and pick something up.
Nope. And even if you do right now, most people are sold out. And so it's important, the zinc, the Pro Zinc that we have in the store actually has 2 forms of zinc that are highly absorbable. And the problem is that if you take zinc that not in a very absorbable form, it can be nauseating as heck. You know, and not only is it nauseating as heck, it could not absorb. So for me, like, I strictly choose supplements that I know is data driven, that helps either in prevention or early symptom treatment, and it's in the best form that's absorbable for people with autoimmunity, immunocompromised, or gut or food issues, which is most of the population if you think about it. Right.
Yeah. So, okay, I have this question. We hear it a little bit. People talk about they have anosmia, like loss of their ability to smell. And I know that's something I've heard tons on mastermind calls, that people with autoimmunity, even before the whole COVID thing, were dealing with that. We have an interview from Marie Lachey about her overcoming those challenges. So can you talk about why that is, and maybe why we're seeing that with COVID?
Okay, I am so excited about this because I actually think there's going to be something coming out in the next 6 months to a year where people are going to link why some people with COVID lose their sense of smell or taste, because that is the #1 sign of zinc deficiency.
Interesting. Okay.
And so, you know, people in our program, some people within a week will get their sense of smell or taste back. And hey, look, bye. Some people, you know, in our program has found out when they found out that they were zinc deficient and they actually take our zinc, within a week, their smell comes back, the taste come back. Remember Marie Lachey's interview where she was like, now like smelling and tasting things for the first time, just a couple weeks in the program. And that was an unexpected, and yet people don't know how it's linked with autoimmunity, because most of us don't have a lot of food and gut issues. We don't absorb zinc well. So most people with autoimmunity are actually walking around with very low zinc levels. That gives them higher risk of an inability to smell or taste. And then this ties in with COVID, guys, which is, I think the people that they're saying, why is there a percentage of people that lose their sense of smell or taste that are getting COVID? Because they're low in zinc, which is the nutrient that they actually need to boost their immune system, not just taste or smell. Zinc is one of the most powerful immune boosting minerals that people are lacking. So it would come that those people that have lower levels are even more at risk for COVID anyway.
Right. So, okay. And then let's take it a step further, because it's not just that they don't have the mineral, but you're a root cause kind of gal. So I mean, there's an absorbability thing with people with their guts they're actually not able to absorb anything.
Yeah. And so like, this goes back to our root cause approach of our program. You know this because I see people spending a shit ton on supplements, right? Thinking that it's like the magic bullet. But what do those supplements have to go through to get into your bloodstream, your intestine, your gut? And you know, anybody that's watched the 5 pillars of our program and our protocol is that we actually use a blood test to identify, that we send out to the safety of your own home, that you can do, that identifies exactly the foods that's triggering the autoimmunity. And if you knew what those 5 foods were, and you remove those, then you actually improve the absorption of your gut, decrease your autoimmune attack, and all those minerals or supplements that you are taking, not only can you eliminate 90% of them, but the 10% that you actually need and you're taking, it's actually being absorbed and it's going to work for you.
Right.
So this is like drills back down to the basics and pillars of our program, which for me is like, you gotta know what foods is triggering the autoimmune attack. And there's a data-driven way to do it that we can send the test kit out to your home, which is huge.
Yeah, it is huge. I have to say, I think it's been probably 6 months or so since I finished the program. And just last Wednesday, I accidentally had some gluten. And that was something that was on my test that was a big no-no for me. And I totally felt it. It actually took me a few days to figure out what was wrong with me, but I was like, why am I in this flare? I haven't had a flare in 6 months or more, and I don't know what's going on. And I caught myself because this whole thing with COVID has been stressful for everyone, and our home lives are changing. And I was like, well, maybe I'm just stressed and I don't know that I'm stressed.
Or your husband's doing the shopping.
Yes, that's what it was. That's because I'm not going to the grocery store, and my husband's doing the shopping, and he got a different brand of something that I would never buy. And we tossed it on our dinner on Wednesday night and didn't think anything of it. And lo and behold, it has wheat in it. And I just have to thank you, Maggie, because it gave me like this really clear example of how my mindset has shifted. I hear you say all the time, Dr. Maggie is always saying, these are not random acts of autoimmune violence.
Well, you see me drill in the program. Whenever someone tells me something, Dr. Maggie, why did I this? I go, well, what's the cause? What's the effect? And we always get to the answer.
Yeah. So it took me a couple days, but I did find the cause. And people don't know how important that is. And I think back to like a year ago, I was eating stuff like that every day and just wondering why I feel like crap and what am I going to do about it? And maybe I was thinking I just need to take some zinc, but that's not it.
That wouldn't have solved it.
I didn't do anything. Yeah.
Now it's like you could just take some zinc to boost your immune system when you need to, and it's actually going to absorb, and you don't have any gut issues, and your autoimmunity is calmed down.
Right. And I recovered so quickly. Like I've never had a flare where I was like, okay, two days later, I'm doing good, and it's gone, and I'm in, which is just so valuable. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. And and I think the poll last night actually highlighted that we're dealing with a lot of shifts and changes. The amount of challenges we're dealing with in 24 hours is more than we usually deal with in a week or a month, right? So I think about the hydroxychloroquine. A lot of people had that question, which is, some people are already reporting they can't get a refill.
Yeah, we're getting messages. What do we do? I don't know what to do. They don't have it at my pharmacy.
Right. So people aren't even sure they're going to be able to get it. And people want to ask, what's the reality of what's happening? The reality of what's happening is that the hydroxychloroquine that we do have is being diverted to be treating COVID patients. Yeah. And there is at least a short-term shortage while those supplies are being diverted. And what is going on is that some of the manufacturers are trying to get increased ramp up production or trying to get out of the country production, which actually is most commonly, a lot of these drugs are actually made in other countries. So they're trying to meet this demand with this diversion that's going towards COVID. We are seeing across the board, many people having problems getting their hydroxychloroquine refilled right now.
Right. Which, so if someone can't get a refill, what's your advice to them? What should their next steps be?
I think number one is, this to me goes back to, everyone thinks the biggest threat to their autoimmunity is COVID right now. Mm-hmm. And to me, the biggest threat is actually you getting into an autoimmune flare. Yeah. Flare prevention, or stop. If you're in a flare right now, stop the flare right now, because that's the highest risk you're going to have to go in contact with COVID, right? Is if you get into a flare. So stopping the current flare right now is the most important thing. But number two, preventing future flares, right? So I am seeing that when people can't access their medications, or there's some people, if you look at the poll last night, are starting a new medication, they're changing medications. So think about this, is that if you stop taking hydroxychloroquine and you were already on it, what is the likelihood you're going to go into a flare? And what's the likelihood then you will be exposed to COVID because you either have to go to the doctor's office, the urgent care, or the ER, or hospitalization.
Yeah. Yeah. Or
And
even
so,
go to your pharmacy to pick up your next thing.
well, which is a good point, which is that pharmacies and insurance companies are actually making mail order pharmacy more available and longer prescription refills. And I want everyone to take advantage of this right now, which is if you're going to the pharmacy to pick some medications up, ask if you can get a 90-day or even a 90-day supply or even a 180 supply of some of your medications. If you can, many insurers are allowing that to decrease our frequency of going to the pharmacy. And ask if, call your insurers and ask if you can do mail order refills, because I already got from our insurance company that I can refill my medications through mail order. So get as many of those prescriptions in, and then specifically too, people dealing with asthma and allergic conditions. Like for those of you with asthma, get your inhaler prescriptions now, make sure you have it, in there, and ask if you could get a 3-month supply. I think that would be really helpful. Number one is getting a higher number of quantity on your refill and accessing mail order. But number two, please right now, access your doctor if you can. There needs to be a conversation right now, because if you cannot get your medication and you are at much higher risk for a flare, what the heck are they recommending for you so you don't get into a flare? What is the strategy here? Waiting for a flare to happen is not a strategy. Watching the news to see whether you get hydroxychloroquine or not is not a strategy. That's called reactive panic, and then really like toilet paper running, toilet paper runs, basically. And you do not want to do that with your autoimmunity and your health. Right now, flare prevention is key. So my advice is immediately is to those of you that are on hydroxychloroquine or any med changes that are happening is talk with your doctor right now about what's going to happen if running out of a certain med, starting a new med, or changing a med causes you to have an adverse reaction or a flare. Because that is real. You guys know this. How many of you have had medication reactions? Right in the comment section below. I want to hear you guys. I don't want to talk at you. I want to talk with you. This is Table Talk Live. I want to hear some comment and feedback below in the comments. Can you guys make some comments? I know you guys are watching, but I'm just wondering why, what's your access to doctors? That was the other thing, was we asked people, are you lost and you're not getting any good advice from your doctor or even access?
Yeah, there was over 50 people that are completely lost and their doctors are not helping them through this. And I think, this is a really stressful time, and we're getting a lot of questions of people are like, they don't even know what to ask their doctor about, what sort of conversations they need to be having. What do you think right now with what's going on, the chances, how much higher are the chances that someone's going to get into a flare just because of the circumstance of the world?
Talk about, like, I would say 10 times at least. And this is a point I really want to bring home, which is that stress is the biggest immune suppressant on the planet.
Yeah.
And the level of panic and stress I'm seeing with people with autoimmunity, immunocompromised, chronic disease is high because they're not having access to their doctors. And even if they were able to access their doctors, they're not getting advice that makes sense to them. It's not truly, so, I mean, to me, it goes back to limitations, right? Cora, you're in our mastermind calls right now, and you have the access to, and people in our program have the access to our expert medical team every single week, and in our program Facebook group. And I know what their doctors are not answering because they're asking us, and I'm fielding those and answering those on a daily, hourly basis with people in our program.
Yeah.
It's
almost, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's almost like I'm working in we have two universes here. Your community that you've created, Transform Autoimmune Disease Naturally on Facebook, is full of people that are just winning in autoimmunity. And we're on one side trying to help people through that immediate stress of like, I think if I get COVID, I'm really in trouble. And then our mastermind calls, like last night, we heard from Robin, and she was saying that
this is the best.
Yeah, she finally, her big breakthrough, she was like, I'm feeling great. I have less brain fog. I am running, like I'm able to exercise. And she finally figured out that it was something with her dietary balance of what types of oils she was eating.
The fats. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Robin cleared her food intolerances, and then she realized that she had a fat digestion issues and that she wasn't intolerant of all fats, but there was just certain types of fats that she could do better with. Omega-3s were excellent for her, and that solved huge problem for her, right?
And I mean, I think like from one call to the next, just me as someone a part of the program, hearing Robin talking, she was like, I don't know if I can take this supplement or that supplement.
Yeah.
Sure, because she didn't know, and it was holding her back so much. But having that access not only to you as a medical doctor, but also to our functional nutritionist to kind of see different ways that she can sneak these things in and really test it out without sending her into a flare during this like scary time. And we're just winning. Like it's a different reality. Seeing some people are taking steps forward, and some people are just scared.
Well, here's the thing. Remember, I mean, you weren't here when I formed this program. I mean, I've been in practice for 23 years, almost 24 years now. And 3 years ago, I started this online program, and people thought I was nuts.
Yeah.
There's a renegade rogue holistic doctor doing an online program. Why would you do an online program? And I'm like, seriously, people, you can do this online. You can actually educate people. You can send out test kits. You can do this in the safety of people's home, and you can actually do a better job than seeing doctors one-on-one, right? And people thought I was nuts, but the results kept coming and coming and coming. And fascinating now is that I could not have seen this coming 3 years ago, right? And now when you look at the current situation we're in, being ahead of the curve 3 years now into running our successful online program, sending out test kits to people's home and being able to like have them have access to our medical team, no matter where. I mean, we have people in India, we have people in Ireland, we have people in Australia in our program right now that have access to this. Is something that, you know, before people were just kind of like, that's strange. Now people are like, holy hell, that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. And to be able to have the access right now where you don't have to go out and go to a germ doctor's office just to be meeting a doctor that you're not sure if they're going to even be able to help you or have them to really dig deep. I mean, when's the last time you had a conversation with your doctor about your omega-3 and omega-6 fat balances? Like,
well, and that was Robin's breakthrough.
Yeah.
I want to know, those of you that are watching right now, how many of you had an in-depth conversation with a knowledgeable MD or a nutritionist about your omega-3, 6, or 9 balance and how it impacted your autoimmunity? You know?
And how many of you are afraid to even ask your doctor the question, like, what happens if I go into a flare, if I can't get my Plaquenil? Like, I mean, some people aren't even trying to access because they already know that it's an empty dead end.
So that's why for me, a couple action items for people. Okay. So number one is that think about right now, the most important thing that you can do right now is to prevent a flare. What is that going to take? Okay. If number one is that if you want to work with us, book a call with us. Okay. We are actually adding extra staff members right now to be able to field the number of phone calls that we're making to actually learn more about what's going on, people see if we can help or not, right? Book a call with us. Number two is trying to access your doctor. Ask the question, if I don't get my hydroxychloroquine right now, what's your plan? If I get into a flare, what's your plan? And see if that plan makes sense to you. And if their plan is to start you on a different medication or change your medications, look at pre-plan this, look at the side effects of that new medication and be prepared. What if I get an adverse side effect from that medication? What's your plan? Because one of the things I really want to emphasize is that the only plan that I'm a conventional MD for the first 10 years of my career, okay? 23 years in practice now. And so really the first 10 years of my career, my only plan was to adjust or change people's meds, right? And unfortunately right now, that could put more people with autoimmunity at risk because of adverse reactions meds can bring a flare themselves. And we know this. How many of you had a flare just from a med change? So those conversations are hard, but you need to have it with your doctor and hear what the answers are and see if they make sense to you. And does it really decrease your risk or does it increase your risk? And you got to think about this logically. And then everything that we're teaching in here are all the things else that you can do besides medication that you can actually decrease your risk of a flare. So I put out as much free content as much as I can. We have a whole COVID playlist here. That we have over 150 training videos right now in the Facebook group of things that people can do right now that are beyond just medication changes or additions or subtractions, right? So take advantage of all that free information, use it, and start decreasing your risk of a flare now if you can't work with us. That's my recommendation for everybody right now. And I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, I think what we're learning as a nation right now is that our doctors are not always going to be available in the same capacity that they were. And it's
They're
more
not.
important than ever that we are in charge of our own health.
Yes.
And know what our action steps are that we can do without going to a hospital.
Yeah. And this is where I think, Cora, you know, I talk about this and I'm a broken record on this, but I think that the way out of this whole autoimmunity, immunosuppression mess that we are in is education. We really need to educate each one of our audience. They need to actually understand that I need to invest in an educational model so that I'm driving this ship and not just waiting for a doctor to hand me more meds or med changes or med stoppages. I'm not just going to be a victim of medication happenstance. I need other options in my palms ready to execute.
Yeah, I can say for myself, I used to be I was completely not in control and just I was that person that was up all night reading things on PubMed and studying, Googling, and trying to figure out what was actually wrong with me, because all I did were these blood tests that my doctors were trying to draw conclusions with, but were trying to just brush me aside. Really, I felt like I had to do it all, but I didn't know what was right and what wasn't. Right. And I remember when you hired me, my first thing that I got to do was listen through everyone's interviews. And I cried.
You mean the alumni interviews, right? That we have in the case studies.
All the ones that are lined out in our unit section. I would just cry listening to these people and think like, that's where everyone starts. Everyone starts there where they're like, I know that my doctor isn't like, I know that I'm not getting the answers that I need, but I don't know what to do. And is like the connecting point. I think it was Anna Melton in her interview. She said, I would do anything. I would do anything to feel better. And I stopped her interview. I'm on the clock training. I stopped her interview and just cried because so many people feel that. And I think right now it's even intensified. Yeah. I mean, I just thank you so much for being accessible to everyone and providing some calm, even to the people that aren't able to work with us right now, giving a little bit of direction, your prompts on what they need to be asking their doctors. This is a place where amidst all the chaos, people are winning in autoimmunity. And I thank you for creating that space for us all.
You're welcome, Cora. And that was a fun table talk. I'm glad you wanted to bring it up and just talk about, because we were having this conversation. We started this conversation early this morning. And how are you guys enjoying Table Talk Live, Immune Table Talk Live? If you guys want more of these Immune Table Talks, go ahead and write in the comment section, more Immune Table Talk. And I love looking at what the hot topic is in the group or on the news. And I'll bring on one of my friends. I'll bring on somebody. I kind of like, honestly, when I have one of these conversations, I say, hey, can you join my table talk and let's talk? That's how you got pulled on today.
Yeah, I was like, oh, Maggie, I'm going to have to do my hair.
You said that.
I did it.
You did. You look beautiful. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And this is Cora, Transform Team in the Facebook group. If you want to message her. And then we'll put some links just about, we have an immune pack that you can build to actually help yourself. And we'll put a link to that. We'll put a link to my other video by Hydroxychloroquine. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Lupus, lung fibrosis,
Hashimoto's thyroiditis,
fibromyalgia, AS, which is a form of arthritis.
that's too far, extremely fatigued.
Pretty much zero joint pain.
Much more happy.
I don't have brain fog anymore. How much weight I have lost.
I want to see remission.
Maggie, and her approach is very different than the traditional doctor.
I'm a totally different person.
I got a better understanding of what those intolerances were.
You're not alone.
The community is, I'm learning from everyone else's issues.
It's not just helped me, it's helped my entire family.
We are transformed.
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 Join the movement and transform your autoimmune naturally today.